The Justice Department policy is at the end of the Mueller investigation, Bob Mueller, the special counsel, will file a report to the Attorney General explaining two things. One, who he charged and why, and two, who he decided not to charge and why. But there's a lot of discretion in terms of how much detail you get into on those 2 points. When it comes to cases where someone has been charged, it's a fairly reasonable expectation to think that Bob Mueller will be fairly descriptive of what he found and why, in part because all those things are already explained in indictments that have been publicly filed. I think where the real question, though, comes is when it comes to describing why he didn't charge some people, standard Justice Department practice would be to not say that much on that point. But there's a lot of expectation in Congress that he should say more about those points. And there's also, frankly, a recent precedent of what Jim Comey did in the Clinton email case that would argue for saying a lot more than maybe the Justice Department normally would.
Our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case.
Attorney General nominee William Barr has said that he wants to be as transparent as possible and share as much information with the public as possible about what Mueller found.
My objective and goal is to get as much as I can of the information to Congress and the public.
However, that's really a judgment call, and Barr is a traditionalist in the sense that he really doesn't believe that the Justice Department should say very much about people who aren't charged with crimes, ultimately.
If you're not going to indict someone, then you don't stand up there and unload negative information about the person. That's not the way the Department of Justice does business.
Transparency is sometimes in the eye of the beholder, and Barr really wouldn't make any, concrete promises about how much of what Mueller told him would be revealed.
I will commit to providing as much information as I can consistent with the regulations.
And the process here will be that Mueller will submit a report to Barr, and then Barr, assuming he's Attorney General, which is the expectation now, Barr would then decide how much of the Mueller report goes to Congress and becomes public. There could well be a classified portion of that is specifically designed not to become public, and there could be some fights over declassifying that. A congressional subpoena is an incredibly powerful tool within the government, and you don't fight one of those lightly. So I think the congressional members do have, particularly in the House where the Democrats have majority control, I think you do have a very powerful tool to force answers out of the Justice Department, even if the Justice Department is reluctant to share those answers. Even though folks in the Justice Department may say, well, we don't want to provide this information, we don't want to provide that information, it would be unfair or improper to our process. The reality is, over the years, and most recently in the Clinton email case, when Congress really demands something, Congress by and large gets what it wants. To the degree that Barr or Mueller want to hold stuff back, they may not ultimately be the final deciders of that.